welcome back to another Pickin and Grinnin podcast. Today we got Eric, OBX Picker, and also widely known as host for Reseller Information Network. We're gonna let him introduce himself, and there we go.
Hey guys, welcome to the show. I appreciate Chris for having me on. I'm Eric, the OBX Picker, also the RIN Reseller Information Network. I handle the PR department, so when I go on shows, no, So I'm on every Tuesday we go live on Reseller Information Network. On Fridays we usually drop a pre-recorded show that we film throughout the week, and then most recently, part owner of One Stop Shop. So that's something new that we have going on. One Stop Shop, RIN.net, if you're looking for that. Or Chris has a discount code if you would like to go on there and shop, save $5. So that's I've been reselling now for like 4.5 years is about where I'm at. So
yeah, so he's right. The district network at One Stop Shop, powered by RIN. It's on a new platform called District. I assume it's new because I just found out about it.
And, about a year and a half. Yeah.
Year and a half. Okay, so there will be a code in the link below. I believe it's there now that you can get $5 off your first purchase.
Yep.
And now Eric, if I'm correct, is that through the district marketplace period, or is it just with One Stop Shop?
Yeah, through the district marketplace period. Obviously, we want you to stop One Stop Shop because Buck Mountain has some pretty fine things for sale over there, and there's lots of cool stuff. You can go in there, browse around. Basically, you save $5. I'll tell you something cool about it too. So once you become a member at no charge, just save $5. Once you become a member, you can actually share the same code to your friends and acquaintances and enemies and whoever you want to, and they'll save $5, and then you get $5 off. Basically, you get $5 credit. Is what you get.
So it's just a gift that keeps on giving.
The gift that keeps on giving. That's it.
Right. All right, Eric. So, real quick, Eric, I want to let you know. I appreciate you coming on and spending time with us. I have a lot of questions I want to ask. The first one I want to ask you about is, how did you get involved in reselling?
Okay, so for me, I have my channel OBX Picker has been kind of dormant for the last little while, but if you go on OBX Picker, you see the full gamut. Basically, I'll tell you what happened was my daughter used to sell LuLaRoe. If you're familiar with that, now it's in the tank, lawsuits, all kind of stuff. But when she got into it, like she's in her early 20s, she bought a load of inventory. She did really well the first year, and then she kind of lost interest, and honestly, LuLaRoe kind of tanked. And so we had a closet in our home slam full of LuLaRoe. And she moved out and left the closet full, slam full of LuLaRoe. So we kept looking at that stuff, and I was like, "What are we gonna?" I called her up, and I was like, "What are we gonna do with this stuff? Like, what are you gonna do?" And so I started looking around for places that I could sell the LuLaRoe on. So obviously eBay, Poshmark, that kind of stuff. I listed a little bit on Poshmark. I listed on eBay. Well, at that point, then I started looking around the house, and I was like, what else can I sell on eBay? And I started watching a few videos and seeing that there were other folks out here that sold stuff online. And so I went to a yard sale, and at that yard sale, I found the craziest toy haul that I found since. I actually went to a yard sale. It was at a warehouse. The guy had totes full of action figures. Now, they weren't the retro, like Masters of the Universe, G.I. Joe. What they were Marvel action figures. And now I know they were Marvel action figures that are what's called the Build-A-Figure, meaning you got to buy like 8 to make one guy. Well, the first figure I picked up, I picked up on eBay was Juggernaut. I used to read X-Men comics when I was a kid, and all the comic book stuff I used to deal with when I was like maybe 12, 13 years old. I was really into it. And so I recognized the guy as Juggernaut. I was like, you know what? Let me just look him up. Looked on the bottom of his year, typed it in. Sells for $45. Okay. Like that's one figure, and here there's 5 totes of figures. And so I looked over at the guy running the sale, and I said, hey, man, what are you selling your action figures for? He goes, how many totes you want? And I said, what would you do for 2 totes? He's like, $20. I said, how about all 5? He said 50. And then I said, would you take 45? I'm thinking like, hey, this one guy's going to pay for it all. So needless to say, I made a couple of grand off of that buy, and I was hooked. And that was it. And then I dove into the world of YouTube, started watching guys like, Cincinnati Picker, Commonwealth Picker, my buddy Kevin, and various others along the way, Matt Part-Time Picker, a lot of those guys, and noticed the Picker theme, hence OBX Picker. And then I kind of got involved with that a little bit after the fact. So it's good.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I found you by accident. I'm not going to lie. I believe I told Leroy this, but I was looking for a guy, and everybody knows who this is. I was looking for a guy that went by the name of Flip the World. TX, the guy that does all the whatnot sales at the Goodwill stores. Yeah. So I was looking, when I found you, I was looking for him, and that's how I found you guys. And what I was trying to do is I now do a whatnot show out of an antique store, and I was trying to not really mimic what he does, but basically create a shop with me. And so I wanted to talk to him, and I want to learn from his channel and learn from him and stuff. But I ran into you actually on Reseller Information Network. And I watched a couple of shows, and then I think the first thing I ever asked y'all was about a video that I made. And then your reply was, it sounds like you've got in on the wrong side of YouTube or something like that. And so I knew then, I was like, well, I know what direction I don't need to go in. And so I started watching you guys. You guys, before, as far as RAN goes, y'all put out some really, really good information. If there's anyone in here that does not know about Reseller Information Network, I will post a link in there. These guys, they're really, it's if you watch Commonwealth Picker, I would rank them up there with him as far as information is, because there's 4 guys and they all have different views in certain categories. So I think it's really, really good information that you guys use. Hello, Sue. How are you today? It's good to see you.
There we go. They're
Do
popping
you
in
ever
there.
stop? I guess she's referring about your videos, Eric. Do you ever stop? Because
she's talking about me being on all day today. It doesn't stop, Lisa, because actually at 8, if you saw in seller chat, if you guys me and Sue want to go in at 8, I'll be in the back room working on some one-stop shop stuff. So
that's right. Yeah, that's right. At 8 o'clock, you got another one-stop shop thing going on. That's
that
right.
was a little bit less pressure in the sense of it's not live. I don't have to worry about people coming in and commenting. But so Lisa, Sue,
Lisa's here too. So another question I want to ask you. Let's go ahead and get this part out of the way. Let's talk a little bit about district, because I do have several people that come in and watch, and they do have questions, and me and Brandon and Leroy pretty much do the best we can, but you're pretty much the head of One Stop. I mean, I don't mean you're alone the head of One Stop Shop, but you're more up to date than the majority of us are. So I'm going to talk about, the first thing I want to talk about is what exactly is One Stop Shop, and how does it entwine with district?
Okay, so how it works? Well, first of all, I'll just give you.
I think I asked that backwards. I think I asked that faster.
I'll give you a tiny little bit of background of how I first found out about it, to be honest. Ivan, who is our community rep for a one-stop shop, He's basically our connection to district as far as the platform that enables us to sell. Essentially, they handle all the backroom tech, and basically they handle all the payment processing and kind of give you all the things that we have in the app. So Ivan reached out to me, and he actually had seen Reseller Information Network. So it was kind of a cool thing because he actually, when he talked to me, he knew about us. He knew about the four of us and kind of what we did. And so I was immediately intrigued because I've sold on a lot of platforms. I honestly currently sell on eBay, Poshmark, Mercari, Whatnot, Bonanza, a little bit on Facebook from time to time, and now One Stop Shop. So I know what it is. The reason we started Reseller Information Network is we like the aspect of community. I know, just like every community, there's bad eggs and good eggs. We know that. We know there's people that just are honestly kind of miserable themselves, and so they create, try to spread that around. I'm very positive. I try to stay upbeat about what's going on. Try to stay even kill. But what I have noticed is no matter what platform you are on, you're essentially by yourself, right? Like you're essentially there, and I'm the one doing the listing, I'm the one doing the packing, I'm the one doing the pictures, I'm the one doing the, so like if you're by yourself, the idea of having a community behind you where you can talk about issues that you're dealing with. I don't know about you. I know your wife's a little bit involved with what you do as far as reselling, but I can tell you my family don't really do a whole lot when it comes to that. And honestly, my friends that are my friends, like here locally, like most of them could give a rip about what you do, to be honest.
Do they
Like
think you have a real job?
yeah. Like when you find cool things like this, like for me, this is super cool, right? This is something I
Oh
picked up
yeah,
at
I seen that. Yeah,
I
I
had
seen that
this
the
as
other
a
day.
kid, right? So
Yeah,
like, dude, I saw this. I was fired up. It's like $130. It's got the thermos. It's good. So I'm fired up, right? But my friends that are here locally that do other kind of jobs, you know what they do? Oh, that's cool. Like
yeah,
for me, I'm like, let's go. you
yeah.
know,
Let's go find
and
more.
that's how it is with me, with the guys at RAN, and with any of you guys that are a part of the channel, that are coming in and sharing what you find. I'm fired up for you. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. Like I can't,
Yep.
when you find stuff that like we're all get geeked up about it, but no one cares. So when I met Ivan and talked to him, and he talked about like this is a platform that's community based. And so I was
Mhm.
like, man, I mean, that fits what we're trying to do at Reseller Information Network to a T. So,
Right.
and I'll be honest, like what happened is I saw um, some way or another, I saw Craigslist Hunter. His store wasn't even open yet. Now I've met Pete a couple times in life and had some good conversation with him, and his store weren't even open. And somehow or another, it popped up, and I saw that he was on it, and I was like, you know what? It gave me some validation. Like, okay, this is a solid
Right.
platform. I should do more investigating. Then me and the guys, after my conversation with Ivan, I was all fired up about like, let's do this thing. And then the guys came on board. We all had a meeting with him secondary, and so what the integration is basically they handle all the payment processing, they handle the tech as far as the platform, and then we handle the promotion side of things for the most part. Like we do, they promote some stuff on site for us, but essentially what we're doing is we're trying to say okay, like this is the thing that we're trying to promote. So for us, if you notice on our Instagrams, whose stuff are we putting up? Like
Right.
you got,
Everybody is in there. Right.
yeah,
Yeah. Lisa.
that's
Lisa
the
has
thing.
a question. It's kind
Yeah,
of what you're talking about with the Instagram stuff. She says, I don't have any Instagram following. My friends and family aren't really interested in reselling. I don't know how to start with district with not having a following. And
yeah,
then she says, Eric saying, should I start? I don't have a community. So
yeah,
this is
yeah.
something that you're talking
So
about.
Lisa, what we're saying is we're your community. Like, come on in. Like that's what we're saying. Because what we're gonna do is we're gonna do our best, absolute best, to try to promote one stop shop within the thing of district. Like for me, I don't even very rarely do I actually use the words district when I'm talking about it. I actually talk about one stop shop because that's
Mhm.
what we're promoting. Are there other resellers that are going to support us that are in other communities in district? Absolutely. Like I know the guys at Dibbed It. Like I mean, all three of those guys, Trash to Cash guys, I know really well. Have spent time with all of them. Kevin, I've traveled with on numerous occasions. We stay together and we talk on the phone often. So, like, it's not that we don't support each other, but what we're doing is we're building a community where we can support you. Um, like, if you're there and you say, like, I don't have a reseller following, then I mean, maybe the honestly, the thought would be possibly start another Instagram or start another that is merely like, look at the cool thing that I found. And I mean, obviously, you can't just blast everybody with sales all the time. You want to put some kind of other content. But honestly, what I would put up is like, look at this cool item I found, and then boom, you can follow it up with that because there's people looking for anything and everything. And on social media, like we think it's like some magic formula, and it is to a degree, but it's just like reselling consistency. If you put out something good and you're consistent with it, like it's gonna grow.
And what's great about the one stop shop is the message system that they have. Now, you don't. I understand we don't have direct messaging there right now, but we do have different categories that we can message in. Like you have a seller chat, you have a social chat, you have a tool chat, I think you have a wholesale chat. You have different chats in there, and it's like Lisa was talking about with the community. Lisa, that community there. I mean, not only is it just about reselling or selling a selling platform, this is more of a learning platform too. I mean, this would be great for new resellers to get in. They can ask any kind of questions they want in those chats, and there's tons of people in there that can answer those questions for you. That can help you. And then, of course, like Eric, like at 8 o'clock, he's having I guess, a learning session. Is that correct, Eric?
Yeah, it's kind of. I mean, they call it onboarding, but it's not that formal. I'll just tell you. Like for me, Ivan has done a couple of onboardings with us, and he might stop in. For me, I can answer probably 95% of the questions you have at this point. I'm one of those people. Like once I get the initiative about something, I dive in. So,
Oh
like
yeah.
you guys know, I've been running auctions like 5 days straight. So, like I've worked through some kinks. I'll just tell you, like I kind of can tell you, and the
Yes.
reason we did that is because I want to make your experience far easier than my experience. So, like if I
Right.
go ahead and lead the way and go through, I'll just tell you, it's kind of nuts. And I know like you guys are a huge part of it. I mean, Sue's bought stuff from me on there. Obviously, Chris has bought stuff. I've bought stuff from a lot of people on there. Just kind of learning, and also because it's cool stuff. Like I bought some stuff today that I was like little stickers that Jess Crafting has put in our thing of Gizmo and things
Yeah, I
like
seen
that
that.
for me. So like I think what basically I would say to people if they say I don't have a community, let us be your community. That's what I'd say.
Right.
Let us be your community. Let us help you. Let us. One of the things we talked about just the other day, and Ivan did a great job. I dropped a video privately in our group about the idea of just helping each other with a like. You know, he actually talked about how if you have like a thousand followers, which may seem crazy right now, but I'm telling you, it's not that big a deal on Instagram. You can get there and not too long period of time. But if you have 1,000 followers, like basically if you get 5 likes, they're going to basically double the people they share it to. So yeah, there you go.
Oh
There you
yeah.
go.
Yeah, yeah. She's seeing. I don't mind doing that. I don't mind
Yeah,
selling. Here's the thing. I used to have an issue with this, but then I learned. Of course, that was I was new to it. So, but then I learned, and we're gonna talk about whatnot. Oh no, what did I do?
It still shows
Oh
live
no,
for me. Did you do something?
does it?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my goodness. Oh, hold on a
It
second.
says
I
live
hit a wrong.
20, 29, 2030. Yeah, I
I'm
know what
sorry,
exactly.
everyone.
I can hear you. Are
Okay,
they live? Hold on. I'll look at it on YouTube.
my whole
Yeah,
screen's actually shut down.
yours is. I'm still live. I'm
Yeah.
good. Like, if you need,
Oh man,
hey,
wait a minute. What's going on? Okay,
that was weird. You went double. Are you
I'm
good?
still echoing. Are you?
Yeah, you're in there. You're in there.
But are you echoing?
Nah, I don't think so. Am I?
Oh, on my
Yeah.
end, it's echoing.
They said you're good on YouTube. We see you. Are we? Is the audio clear?
Yeah, my audio is echoing.
Thumbs up, thumbs down. You could probably go out and come back in, or check your sound.
All right, try it now. Can you hear me?
Is it me?
Can't hear
Yeah,
me
they say
again,
it's
could you?
fine on their end.
Oh,
Okay,
gosh.
cool.
It's just echoing really bad on my end. It's the
It's
echo
weird.
cancellation.
It's not on my end. Check your settings, your audio settings.
Right, that's what I'm looking. How's that?
I mean, I haven't heard echoing the whole time. So
I fixed it right there.
okay, cool. Yeah, like what you're saying, Chris, about like one of the things I've always thought about. I'll be honest, I buy so cheap that I don't mind passing it on. Honestly, I feel like it's part of what we do with RIN. Is I love for you guys to make money off of things you buy from me. I really do, because I'm like, man, because I know what I bought it for, and even when you buy it, even though the margin isn't quite what I would get on eBay, but honestly, if I tried to list every item I have right now that is not listed, it's gonna be 2025 like before I get there. Like, I mean, that's just,
Right.
and I'm still buying, so it's like one of those things. So it's great.
So let me get back to what I was saying. I got sidetracked there. My whole screen went blank, and so then I got like an echo of hearing myself talk. So I'm going to remove
Yeah,
these
you're
to talk
you're doing a
in a minute.
little
Uh,
can action right
so
now.
like uh, Sue, she bought some things for me in that auction. And when I first got started in reselling, I had an issue with that, and it's basically on whatnot side because I was like, man, I'm not making no money. I'm always selling the resellers. Well, the thing is, I learned is it's okay if you make a little bit of money or even break even because you're not selling it in the area you're in. Somebody give that person an opportunity to make some money. Give them a deal to where they can possibly sell the item and earn it back. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I don't mind doing auctions in a little bit a lot of times.
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
got that.
I'm the same way. Like I really, it takes some time to build an audience. Like, and that's what I would encourage you guys about, even with One Stop. Like right now, I mean, guys, we're less than a month in. Like, we're not even maybe 3 weeks, I think, into what we're doing. So it's going to take some time. I mean, and honestly, Chris came on an auction, and I just told him, I said, look, man, understand you're not going to make as much as what you did on eBay. You have to be okay with it. Like, I mean, otherwise you're going to be frustrated. I'll be honest. Like today, I sold comic books, and some of them sold super cheap. Some of them sold for good money. But end of the day, I'm like, man, I don't, I'm not hinging. I'm not waiting on. I don't expect to get top dollar from all that. That's why it's an auction. That's why I'm selling to resellers. That's why, if I can pass on the savings, if you can make money at it, great, perfect. When I first started doing whatnot, I'll just tell you, I would sell anything and everything. Even this week when I ran, if you guys saw, I ran two hats that are like big money hats that I'm like, you know what? I didn't pay hardly anything for those hats. I don't care. It's like, if you guys make money, great, awesome. Like, it's good.
Yeah.
So,
Uh, I'm sorry.
I've
I'm
always
sick.
been in the mindset if I help other people, eventually it's going to come back around, and that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah,
Hey,
and that's the thing is helping everyone else. That's what was my whole point of starting this channel was I made a lot of mistakes at the beginning of reselling, and I just wanted to be able to put out information that will help others not make the same mistakes that I did. That's what I was trying to do there. I'm sorry, everyone. My mind is
hey, you know
I'm,
what it
I'm,
is? You've been hanging out with Leroy. That's what the problem is.
is that what it is?
Yeah, you've been hanging out with Leroy. He has those internet gremlins that get at him all along.
I really, this is really got me bum boggled. I mean, can you see the side here?
I can see you.
Okay,
I can
yes,
see
sir.
you. You're a
I have
little.
two CDs down here of me.
I can hear you.
So
You're a little canny, a
can you
little
see
tinky.
two of me?
Yeah,
All right.
that might be why you're having audio.
Yeah. So I don't know how to get rid of this.
All right, so what you do is just hit remove, like you basically kick one from the show.
All right. So I did that, and it's still down in the bottom.
So what you do is you kick it. Wait, I tell you how to do it even easier than that. Go to your StreamYard. Like, do you have more than one duck up in your tabs?
Oh,
It's funny, like if you see the little StreamYard guy in the corner, he's a duck. So I always look at
yeah.
my tabs, see how many ducks I got open.
I got
So
one duck.
click on your other duck. You might have to close that one down.
Oh, you mean at the top of the page?
Yeah, yeah.
No, I only
Yeah,
got the one duck open.
I don't know where do you have Do you have two cameras?
No.
Well, one of them ain't going to show up as a duck if you're clicking on
Double trouble.
it.
The problem is it's my mic. Everything that I say is echoing in my ears.
Look, it hit the settings button down at the bottom.
All right.
You see where it says audio?
Yes.
Do you have echo cancellation?
Yes.
Do you have it clicked or no?
I just unclicked it. Click it.
Yeah, it
It's
should have a.
clicked.
Does that help any?
Mm.
There should be another one that says they're saying that the mic is perfect on their side.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, that's what they say. So
All right. Well, I'll just do it.
it sounds better now. It don't sound like as tin canny as what you were.
But it sounds tin canny from you on mine.
Yeah. Maybe
It's okay.
I don't know. Maybe go out and come back in. Sometimes we have to do that.
All right. So if I hit video, it's not going to click it out.
Just don't end the video. Don't end the live. Just do
Okay.
the leave thing and then come
All
back.
right. Let me leave and come back. I'm sorry, folks. If you're watching, I apologize.
It's just me. You get to hang out with me for a little while. You guys have any questions for me in chat while he's gone? Sounds better now. Lisa and Sue, I would invite both of you guys. Like, come by tonight at 8. The link is in the seller chat, and feel free to come in and ask anything about one stop shop, what you guys should do. I mean, I'm not saying move your whole eBay store over there. I'm saying like, yeah, if you want to be a part of it, if you want to learn how to live sell, like do live sales, then you can do that as well. And with live sales, I know a lot of people are intimidated by them, but you don't necessarily have to show yourself on camera. Some people do, some people don't. Like if you notice my live sales, I show myself in the beginning and end and say, hello, thanks for being here. And then I just run stuff. So if it's something you're interested in, I'm an everything seller myself. So it's one of those things. How did is he in the back room still? Um, yeah, I'm an everything seller myself. I sell everything under the sun. And honestly, it's because where I live, it's difficult to find enough to sell. If I was a niche down seller, I would have to travel even further than what I do now. So, yeah, 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 it'll be good. It'll be good. Are you back?
I believe so.
Yeah, sounds clear. Sounds clear.
Yeah. Okay. All right, we're good. I apologize, everyone.
It's all right. Don't get rattled. No problem.
Man,
I'm one of those guests that's easy because I've hosted a show for pretty near 4 years. Like, it's not a problem for me.
this is the first time. This is the first time I've had this issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still got the echo, but I can deal with it.
Oh, you just went a little frozen right then.
It could be an internet issue altogether. Okay. Yeah. So there are multiple ways to set one district, and I wanted you to talk about those. I know of two other ways. The one is the live auctions, and the other one is the claim number way. I just wanted you to talk about those two and see if you could tell us about that.
All right. Yeah, yeah. I mean, actually, there is multiple ways for sure. There is marketplace, which is like a normal you post it, buy it now pricing. There is an auction similar to what eBay does. You can run it for a number of days. Just like there's not many people that are doing. Well, actually, if you go on the district main page, there are people that are doing that. You can run that. But live selling is a feature that is available, and it is interesting. Chris got to experience one of the little quirks that they have in One Stop Shop. We actually his first auction, we were having some tech stuff going on, and I can, as an admin in our thing, I can actually pop in your auction and if you're live. What'll happen is if I go to press live, I can join your live because you're already live. And so I joined in and was able to talk him through some stuff and kind of help moderate for a little while. And so that's a pretty cool feature that's there. But the live auction does give you the ability to sell in a live format where you're actually showing items and they can bid on those items. You can bring new stuff to the stage. You can actually sell buy it nows. The only problem with some of the buy it nows in the auction is if it's not your item and you don't have the item in front of you, you can't physically share it. But that's something that's coming. Actually, they're working on having it to where if you have a buy it now, it would actually pull your pictures up on the screen, which would be awesome. Because honestly, I can sell your stuff in my auction at that point. So
that would be kind of like what Punchmark has, right?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Like, I mean, some of the tech that's coming is going to be real good to where we can do that. The co-stream thing is going to be I'll talk about shipping. I'll talk about whatever you want when we get in there. The shipping's pretty easy. It's free, calculated, or what they call flat rate with progressive or flat rate plane, one or the other. So I'll explain all that.
So you're going to be doing that tonight too at 8 o'clock.
O'clock. Yeah, we'll talk about whatever you guys want while we're in there. Any questions you have, I'll be happy to show you in the app, show you on the thing on the website. But the live auction is a cool feature.
Go
And
ahead,
the
Ed.
other one is like you were mentioning the magic comment. So magic comment's a feature that I've not seen on any other selling platform. eBay's trying to integrate some stuff to where it would actually link. Like you can link your social media, you can put out a post like on your Facebook or Instagram. They actually have with District with One Stop Shop. There's a feature where you can share on your Instagram, on your Facebook, on your Twitter, on your YouTube. So all of those you can actually do some. Where I'm sure you guys, especially on the chat, I don't know who else is in here, but obviously Sue and Lisa, I'm pretty sure they follow me on Instagram or follow Tim or follow One Stop Shop or follow Reseller Information Network, one of the others. And you've seen a lot of posts come up where it says if you type claim, then you can purchase that item. What happens is anybody that types claim will get a direct message from whatever platform you're on. And that direct message will basically send you an invoice and how to pay for it. So Tim actually made a sale today off his Twitter. He put a post up of a card that he had. It sold. They got the DM in your back pocket. Yeah. So it's pretty neat. I mean, really, it's one of those things that you're there.
I'm trying to share the store in the chat for people that we're not able to see.
You got it
there. So yeah.
Yeah, so it's pretty interesting. Actually, I could pull it up if you want to look at it just for a second.
Yeah. Are you able to add to that this stage?
Yeah, I put it in the. Yeah, you have to add it in, but I put it in the bottom. So this is what it looks like. One Stop Shop. If you've been there, if you haven't been there, feel free to come by. We're up to 237 members, have 97 sellers, and this is some of the cool stuff that we have for sale currently. And not all this is us. We actually have, I think we're up to about 1,500 listings in here right now. Today we've had some cool things be dropped in. Ooh, wait a minute. I didn't see that. Is that my size? Where's the size? I'm gonna have to shoot a message to Flippin' Flamingo. If you need measurements, let me know. Let's see where's the measurements. Ooh, nice size. Oh,
there it is.
That's a little schmedium. That ain't fitting this boy. That's for sure. That ain't fitting here. No.
That's not fitting a lot of us.
Nah. I don't think that fit.
Eric, while you're on that, can you show them how to find different sellers within the network? How to search them?
Yeah. So within our network or so you can, if you want to buy from someone specifically in One Stop, you can just go right here where it says listing and see how it says at the top. Like maybe you're looking for something specific. Like, does anybody have anything they want to look for right now around here? Any interest in anything that you're like, you know what? Let me see if there's this. I know for me, I'm a hat guy, so I would type hat and see what we got. So there are other marketplaces that pop up when you do hat. This is one of the things that I was telling you about. You don't necessarily have to have a following because it's going to pull stuff that is out there, even in other marketplaces. Like, see, this is Craigslist Hunter. This is other guys' stuff. This one's us right here. This Davey Allison. This is in our marketplace as well. Frank Oman has this for sale. So there's things you can find. If you want to look at all of District, then you click the little, I'm not sure what that is, like a timer. I guess. And you can scroll up and see what's
And
there.
I've noticed when I go to listings, you can filter the seller. Have you seen that option?
Yeah. If you go on ours and you go to
Oh,
listings,
Johnny's
ooh, we're
here.
up to 1,800 items in
Hello,
the
Johnny.
marketplace. So if you go to listings here, you can see the seller. You can roll it up. Let's see who we got in here. Huh. What about if we look in here at old this guy? See if he's got anything. How's it not doing that here? Oh, what about this guy? Does he got anything in here? Yeah, look at that. He's got all kinds of stuff in here. Yeah, it's cool. Actually, for me, it's kind of crazy. So there's actually a leaderboard. So this is top
Lisa wants
community.
to know if you're still promoting a specific card.
Yeah, so the leaderboard, when it talks about community, it's who's the most engaged in the community right now. Like both purchasing, chatting, like all that kind of stuff. So, and then it has top sellers. Right now, when I told you guys I was going to lead the pack, I'm leading the pack. Top seller, top contributor. I've probably spent pretty close to the most money, too. Like, to be honest.
We have, all of us have. Oh, yes. Okay. I've never seen that option.
Yeah, there's that. There's activity. Actually, this is a very interesting too. You can actually see everything that's sold in the marketplace, everything that's happened in the marketplace. You can see that, and all of you guys have that same activity. So you can actually see what's going on a day to day. I love that Santa's Treasure listed a bunch of these antique wood planes, which is cool. Yeah, so it's neat to see what I was in.
So technically, you can look up an item and see what it's sold for on district and use it as a sold comp.
Yeah. I mean, you can actually look at anybody. All these are open on everybody's platform right here. Like this would be for our shop specifically. Now you see down here on this side. So these 3 that are locked, like I have, you guys would never have permission here. Like the admin chat would be, myself and the guys and the guys from district are in there. Seller chat, only if you're a seller can you go in here. This is the StreamYard link if you're looking for that. Also, if anybody's interested in some DVD combos, Brad from Black Sheep is looking to get rid of some, and basically he's just going to do it for the cost of shipping. If somebody wants some
combo units,
yeah, they need repair.
Oh, okay.
And then this is social sharing. This is something we've been talking about. See all these Instagram, Twitter links. Like, so when you list an item, share the Instagram story. That way, or the Instagram status. That way, everybody else can go and like it, and that helps boost your.
Now, why would that one be locked?
What? Because it's
like it's on that one.
For sellers. What it does is just for sellers in our marketplace, because we're the ones promoting our items in there.
All right.
So then have somebody, if somebody was just a general, like they were just a channel member, I would not want them like promoting, essentially using your billboard space for somebody else. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha. Yeah.
Like that's kind of what it is. And this one's general. It's for everybody. Show and tell. That's cool.
That's a cool thing. I've seen that not too long ago.
And then in search of, we have that. Like if anybody's looking for anything, there's a great place. Identification. We have people in there helping people, which is great. Ask RIN, that's us. Yeah, I guess I need to go there and answer that question. I've not used it. I don't think any of us have used Vinted. I've heard of it, but I haven't messed with it.
I've used
And this,
Vinted.
yeah, this is stuff. Fashion, yeah, wholesale.
Was that a question in the chat?
Yeah, here in Ask RIN, it says, anyone selling Vinted?
Oh, okay. I can answer that. I sell on Vinted. If no one's never heard of Vinted, it's actually a platform that the seller does not pay the fees. The buyer does.
Yeah, we
So
got this
whatever
Tool
you list
Talk.
the item for, that's what you make.
Oh, nice. Yeah, Tool Talk. We're doing a little
I
talk
see
about it.
that. So Leroy's finally getting involved.
Yeah, so it's cool. I mean, so basically, you guys have access to all that as channel members, and then some of it as sellers.
So Eric, I got off of dish for a while.
All right, let's.
What is you've been
You stop.
selling for
Yeah.
how long again?
What is it now?
How long have you been reselling again?
About 4.5, going on 5 years. Yeah. Hey, Cajun Roots reseller. You want to know something crazy?
Yeah.
Johnny popped in here. He was one of my first channel subscribers back in the day.
Really?
Yeah, OBX Picker.
Wow.
We go back a long ways. Yeah, Lisa, I do have a link for that. I can drop it in if you'd like.
Yeah, Johnny, I watch his morning shows. It's pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, I've known him a long time. Like he was getting started in YouTube about the same time I was, to be honest.
So, in your 5 years, what was your most exciting find / sale?
All right, so there's a few things here.
Right.
For me, the most exciting thing that I found as far as profit was some 1999 Gen 1 Pokemon Japanese version sealed in a box.
Wow.
I found a video about it, of course, but I found it at basically a place that was kind of like a clean out guy, and he was closing the storefront that he had, which was basically like a giant yard sale. And he, yeah, I went and saw him the week before, and he had a bunch of stuff, but he goes, "Hey, I'm having to move out next week. So next week I'm going to have a big blowout." And that's what he was doing, was blowing it out. So I went in there. I got you right here, Lisa. So I went in there, and he won't let me do it. Yeah, just looking in the reseller information network is there. So I went in there, and he goes, I asked him, I said, "What else new you got?" He goes, "Well, I wish you'd have came next week. I got more stuff." But he goes, "Man, I got this thing. I don't know if you'd be interested in it. It's probably worth $1,000. And I'm looking at him like, "Hey, if it's worth $1,000, I probably ain't buying it because I'm cheap." And so, dude, he pulled it out, and it's a box of Pokemon sealed, written in Japanese. And I don't know anything about Pokemon. I know Charizard and I know Pikachu. That's all I know. I know to look for Charizard. I know that Pikachu is like the main character, I guess. So I'm like, okay. So I'm looking at this stuff. I never played Pokemon in my life. Like, I don't even know how it works or anything. So I'm like sitting there looking at this thing, and I had my buddy with me, and I then told him. So he came. I went the first time, bought a bunch of stuff. He came the next time with me, and so we were making piles. And I leaned over to him. I said, "Bro, I got 200 cash. That's what I got in my pocket. I mean, I can go get more, but that's what I brought." And we're out kind of away from things. And he said, "I got the same." And I said, man, I said, I'm gonna be a little conservative on the rest of it because I don't know how hard this dude's gonna hit me on that. I said, but look at like he had some extra packs loose, like maybe like 3 or 4 extra packs loose. And so I told my buddy, I was like, look it up. I'm gonna take this guy in this other room, look it up while he's not there. So the box, obviously, there's no comps. Like no one can find that. Like I mean, it's not out there. And so, but he did find the individual packs. Individual packs were selling for $63. So there's 30 in a case, or 36, I think it was, in the case. And I was like, man. So we came back over there. I was like, dude, I have no idea what he's going to charge us. So I went and found a bunch of Atari game stuff and some other odds and ends. I made a little pile. Like had video games. I mean, I had a decent sized pile because I knew he was blowing it out. And then my buddy had a little pile. And so he goes, how are we doing this? We paying all together? Or are we doing it separate? Or what were we doing? And I said, well, I said, we're going to split the Pokemon. And I said, this is my pile. If you want to give me a price, that's his pile. He's like, all right, with $60 on your pile. And I was like, all right, sounds good. So I'm sitting there doing some math, like, okay, 140, I got 140. And my buddy, I then told him, I said, look, we'll just split the cards. We'll split the cards. And my buddy, he said, looks at his pile, he says, $30 because he didn't have much.
Oh my God.
So now I'm sitting there thinking, okay, so we've got $310. We can spend $310 if we have to. And the guy, I said, man, how bad you gonna hit us on the Pokemon? And he said, man, is $50 too much? I about broke my hand getting my wallet out, So then we walked out of there, and we're like, we go out of there, and we get in the car. We literally drive like 3 blocks down the road. I was like, dude, pull over. Let's look at this stuff. So we started looking that thing up, and then we got talking about it. Well, I'd had my my eBay longer than he had. And so I was like, man, I said, I'll just list it on my eBay as an auction, and I'll set a buy it now price of $3,000 on it. And so, man, immediately after I listed it, my phone was blowing up. I'll give you 1,800. I'll give you 1,500. I'll give you from all over the world, like Greece, Italy, Japan, like everywhere, like just like constant messages. And I'm like, man, I'm sitting there looking at it, and now I'm getting nervous, right? Because I'm like, oh man, it's $2,500, like $3,000, like whatever. Like, I mean, I'm sitting there looking at it. I was like, what if I have to ship it to like Japan or something? Like, I mean, I'm not that deep into reselling at this point, probably about a year in. And I'm like, I'm sitting there just kind of freaking about it. I get a message from a guy in Charlotte, North Carolina. Now, I live in North Carolina on the Outer Banks. So Charlotte, 5 hours from home. I get a message from the guy. Hey, I do Pokemon. Like I basically, he has a channel, like a YouTube or whatever. And he said, I have a channel where I open Pokemon boxes and, sell Pokemon, that kind of thing. He's like, I have a physical address that I do this stuff at. And basically he shot me a message. He said, man, he said, would you be willing to take like $2,000? And I was like, I'm sitting there thinking about it. And I said, man, I just don't know if I could go that much. And he sent me back a message, 2,500. He said, I'd do 2,500. I said, I would do 2,500. And so, because I messaged my buddy, we're both obviously freaking about it. And I was like, 2,500, it's only going 5 hours. It's only like back then we shipped to Raleigh, and then it would have gone Raleigh to Charlotte. So I'm like, man, like that's less hands tugging us and not going overseas. This is before the guarantee of international shipping. If it was today and I was shipping the eBay International, I'd be like, yeah, y'all can buy it wherever. But back then I was like 50 into 2,500. I'll do that every day. And so we did it, and everything went off. Like, in fact, the guy messaged me and said, whoa, testing the emergency broadcast.
Yeah.
So we did it, and it was good. That was probably the most fun. Now, I've had other exciting buys. I mean, a couple years back, I've bought hundreds of hats at a time. Like, I went into a estate sale one time, and they had an old bus sitting out there, and
Now,
they
go
had an
ahead.
old bus.
I'm sorry. I was
I go with the
tell
bus.
Brandon real quick. We're trying to, but it's like a broadcasting system.
Yeah, the old bus is slammed full of hats. Like the whole bed of the bus in the back is just loaded with hats. So I went out there. I said, "What are y'all doing with all them hats?" And he's like, "Man," he goes, "I don't know." I said, "Well, what kind of price you give me if I bought all of them?" He said, $30. I bet it was 300 hats, dude. I was like, "Let's go." Yeah, I bought a sporting goods store before. Like I've had all kinds of crazy stuff. A guy called me one time and he said, "Hey, I got an opportunity for you." He goes, "I know you're looking for stuff inventory." He said, "I just bought the back of I'm cleaning out an old sporting goods store." And he said, "Well," I said, "Well, what's in there?" He goes, "All I want's the fixtures and the signage." He goes, I don't want anything else." He said, he said, "Would you be willing to buy the rest of it? You want the rest of it?" I said, "What's in there?" And he said, "Well, there's some shoes in there and some clothing and some uniforms and stuff like that." And he said, "There's an old machine in there. It looks like you press things out with." And I said, "Was it like a heat press, like like you make t-shirts or whatever?" He's like, "Yeah, I think that's what it is." So he calls. He said, "Well, meet me over there tomorrow at 11." Well, he calls me at like 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. He said, "Hey, I've already loaded all that stuff up. You want it?" And I said, "What? Like, hey, how much of the stuff is there?" He said he has 18-foot trailer. He said the whole trailer is full, like half up. And then he says the next thing he says, "In the back of my pickup's full." And I said, "Well, what price wise?" And he said $750. Now, let's be clear, $750 at that point for me to invest in reselling, that's like a month's worth of buying is what I would be doing back then. Like I would, I literally would back then. I would take 150 to 200 to a yard sales on the weekends, and that's kind of was my budget for the week. So I'm sitting there thinking, I was like, man, this is a risk, dude. Like I hadn't even seen this stuff. And I was talking to my dad about it. Me and my dad were up the beach, and when he reached out, and so I told Dad, I said, "What do you think?" I said, "Hey, I ain't got nowhere to put it," because back then I'm literally reselling out of one of our bedrooms, like kind of like what I'm in right now. That's all I had. That's all the space I had. Like I didn't have no shed. I didn't have nothing. And so I said, "Yeah." And he came and he brought the stuff, and it filled up my entire living room and den. Like literally like waist deep, the entire living room. And then we're going through that stuff after he left, and I'm sweating, dude. I'm just like, oh my gosh. I mean, I know I can make money on it, but what's here? Dude, I opened up, I've still got a box. I opened up these boxes. They're wrapped in brown paper. They're Converse it says official sponsor of 1984 Olympics. New in the box Converse, old stock. I was like, man, they were the little low top black ones. And I sold 4 pair in 10 minutes. Like I literally put the first pair up. There's no comps. I put it up for $150. Like I list on my phone. So I did this. I hit list. I laid the phone down. It said cha-ching. I was like, what? $150 gone. So the next one I listed 200. Next one I listed 250. Next one I listed 300. Literally, I had my 750 back in less than 10 minutes. I was done. I was already there. So like it was one of those things. So I mean, I've had some cool, crazy, amazing stories. Like some of that stuff when you see people put on videos and Facebook, you're like, that ain't real. Yeah, it's real. It happens. It is. It don't happen all the time, but it does happen.
That makes my stories look like nothing now.
Well, these guys will tell you. Brandon, I got a chance to hang out with him at 127, but the guys that have ever picked with me will tell you, like, I have a way of either finding stuff or talking my way into something. That usually happens. Like usually I'll go and they'll be like, "Hey guys, we got a private pick. Like we're going over here," and then you walk into a Crazy stuff.
Hey, Brandon, how's it going?
What's up, fellas? I'm sorry I'm late. I was feeding my face, and I realized what time it was, and I was like, "Oh crap, I'm late." So just figured I'd
Well,
hop
at
on here a
least you
little bit.
showed up. Leroy didn't show up.
Uh, now I got a good story about Eric here.
Uh-oh.
He he is somebody that probably unknowing to him will forever be connected to my reselling journey or story or whatever, specifically on the YouTube side of things, because what was it in May,
Yeah.
the spring Route 29 sale. I remember my wife was in that we were at this sale, and we walked in there was two buildings at this sale, and we walk in and Chernock was there. And I was, looking for hats and that kind of stuff. I love selling hats. And right before I got there, Chernock found a huge hat buy. And I'm like, all right, so I talked to him a minute, see what he had in there. My wife's in the other building. I go over there and she's looking at this clothing rack. And I'll never forget it. I'm, hardly even having a reselling YouTube channel yet, because I have my sports card one, but I dabbled in the reselling one, and I had the chest strap on, which is uncomfortable as can be, and had my GoPro mounted. And Eric's like, "Hey, buddy, you got a YouTube channel?" Didn't know me from Adam, but it's just like, "Hey, buddy, you got a YouTube channel?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm trying." And then he's like, "Well, hey, let me take you over and introduce you to these other guys." And it was Tim Chernock, and coincidentally, Tim lives up in DC. I'm in Northern Virginia. So every Chantilly show now, the sports card show, because Tim's into sports cards too, just like myself, I go up to Chantilly, go to the card show, and me and Tim see each other. So it was like just this random moment, and because he's seeing a camera on my chest, it's like, "Hey, buddy, you got a YouTube channel?" And I don't even, what did I have? Maybe 20 subscribers at the time, if that.
Right.
I mean, it was just, so thank you, Eric. And, like he said, we hung out a little bit down at the 127 again, unexpectedly. Me and my wife are down there, and he calls me on Instagram. "Hey man, we got an Airbnb. We're going to have some folks over, hang out, we're going to order some pizza," and just invited us in. Like, we had known each other forever, and that's just the kind of guy he is. And it's honestly, Eric, you've accepted me in like that, into the community, because reselling can be secluded if you don't know people in it. It's kind of like boosted my excitement even more for doing. I mean, it's fun as heck anyway, and it's a great thing to be able to do this as a air quotes job. But you guys, Leroy, Chernock, Tim, all you guys, man, y'all have made it the community aspect to it. So again, I do appreciate it, and thank you that day. Just "Hey, buddy, you got a YouTube channel?" It was just those simple words, man.
What I remember is because I was over bragging to Cernock about the shirt that he missed over there, the old Mickey Mouse, the single stitch.
Yep. He had found a couple shirts, and he went over to tell Chernock that he had missed some, because I guess somebody had already picked the rack or whatever the day before or something.
Yeah, Chernock.
But yeah, that's he was kind of the first, like those guys at RAM were kind of the first people in the reselling community that I met. So, and I won't forget that. I mean, like I said, man, it's kind of driven me along too. So,
yeah, it's fun for me. Like, even like some of the guys, it's so crazy the opportunities I've had to hang out with people and to put people together. Because I mean, honestly, that's the stuff I enjoy. When we first started doing what we do with Reseller Information Network and what we did, like, I mean, I'll be honest, like, so how RIN was born was way back in the day. I had I always give this dude credit. I don't even know if he's still on YouTube, but Ken Skeets is a guy out of Australia. It used to sell nothing but media. And I don't know, like I said, I haven't followed up. But back in the day, for some reason, he got recommended to me. That dude did a 17-hour listing challenge. And it blew me, dude. I said, how are you? Like him and his buddy, and they're just listing DVDs. Like I would lose my mind. And I was like, man, I sat there and I was watching that thing throughout. It was on when I went to bed. It was on when I woke up. I was sitting there just kind of, I'm in here working, listening, doing my thing. And I was sitting there watching it. And I said, man, I should do that. I should do because I did a series at one point on my thing called Death to the Death File. And I was listing every day and charting everything, like what I listed, what sold out of the death pile, how much value was sitting in my death pile. Like I did all that. And then I after watching Ken Skeets, I was like, you know what? I'm going to do 8 hours. I'm going to do 80 items in 8 hours. Like I said, I think I can do that. So, man, I sat at my dining room table and basically I stacked up like 85 items and I'm just listing like a fiend all day. But what I did is I went live and I'm listing and I'm just dropping the link all day long. Like anybody that wants to come in, come on in. Like the only thing I would tell them is just keep it PG, man. Don't be dropping stuff in here. But like I said, just keep it PG. And so there, people are coming in all day long, man. I got to know so many people like that, kind of on the fringe that I knew, but they weren't afraid to come in and talk. And so we did that. Well, Chernock, Tim, Leroy all popped in that day. And as a result of that, Tim was actually my first interview way back in the day, OBX Picker Reseller Roundtable. He was our first interview. That's when I first met him, like almost 4 years ago now. But man, it's so crazy because out of that was born. Tim messaged me literally the next day. He said, dude, we should do this every week. He said, you don't know how motivated I am being in there watching you guys list. And I was like, man, and like, so I started getting messages throughout the community. Let's do this. So we did listing and loafing long before the RIN. And then Kevin has talked to us about it for a while, has talked to me about it specifically and said, hey, man, what are you guys doing? Like, y'all should just do that as a thing, like make that y'all's thing. And so we did. And we love it. We love the community aspect. We love bringing people in. There's nothing thrills me more than hearing stories where people are like, man, I watched you guys. Like, honestly, we met Kristen, Trash Cat Rescue, at the 127 this year. She was brand new to reselling. Literally, like, she hadn't been doing it in a month, and she drove to Tennessee to hang out with us. And like, just the other day in the show, she's like, I've already sold 120 items on eBay. And I was like, and she goes, it's you guys. Y'all did that. Like, and I was like, no, I mean, ultimately you did it, but so stuff like that for me, I'm like, yes. Like, I mean, even hearing stories like that is good.
It's funny because I messaged you guys late about actually going to the 127 because I was planning to go to the national, the card show. The national. Tim's probably talked about it.
Yeah.
I was planning to go there. It was in Chicago, and after adding up how much the trip was going to cost, and I have, y'all see, I have stuff all around behind me with cards and everything else, and I was just like, we went to the 301, we went to Route 29. I've hit some of the smaller route sales and stuff. It's like everybody's talking about this 127, and then Chris and Caleb are talking about this meetup. I was like, that sounds like it would be a lot of fun. And we started looking into how much hotels would be and stuff, and I was just like, let's just go do that, and then take a family vacation in the spring and go to the beach or something instead of going to the national. It's going to, we can make money instead of spending thousands of dollars to go to Chicago to go to a card show. And that's kind of what we did. And, hell, the 127, well, the meetup was amazing. Chris and Caleb did an awesome job on that. But even, navigating the 120, because I just started reselling in January. So this has like all been, a whirlwind to me, but it's a lot of fun. It is. I think the coolest part is, and Tim can probably attest to this because he does the card thing. reselling is it has a lot of similarities with sports cards, because you go to a card show, you're digging in boxes, you're looking in display cases, you're trying to make a deal, whether it's for your collection or you're trying to flip it or whatever. It's kind of the same thing. You're there to source, and whether for personal or profit. The difference is in reselling, like going to yard sales or even estate sales and that sort of thing, you don't know what you're walking into when you go to them sales. And it's a lot easier to negotiate, and there's a way more opportunity for high margin buys. Like card people, they got, they're looking everything up and comping everything. And, the values fluctuate so much. And in reselling, you can go buy a 50-cent hat that might be $150, So it's just a lot of fun, man.
Yeah. I love the meetup stuff. I love honestly, I like doing stuff like this. Like just hearing other people's stories, hearing what's going on. I mean, you were out there when we did, I did a live auction at the 127, which was nuts. Like sold a piece of pizza, all that kind of stuff. Like at the house.
I was watching, but y'all did that after the meetup with Chris and Caleb. And our hotel was in
on the other side.
Yeah, we stayed in Rocky Top, or what is I can't remember where it was. Anyway, it was like an hour away, and it was in the Eastern time zone. Y'all were staying in the Central time, so we actually lost an hour. It was smart on our part because the hotel was cheaper, and we could get up at 7 a.m. And even though we had an hour drive, it was still 7 a.m. when we got to the 127. So like that part was kind of smart on our part, but driving back in the evening, we lost an hour. So I watched it, but I wasn't there at the house that night.
Yeah, we did. I mean, I love that kind of stuff. Like the meetup stuff for me is fun. I love seeing what people find. I mean, just the opportunity there is to network. Like, I mean, and I know we were talking earlier, like One Stop Shop, RIN. Like for us, those are kind of intertwined. That's where I see it headed in the future. It's just another way to help people. Like, I mean, obviously there's stuff in it for us, or we wouldn't. But end of the day, like I get just as much joy out of seeing other people succeed, whatever that looks like. I mean, for me, I guess I've never been. I don't get like jealous about stuff like things like that. I'm like, man. I mean, if you succeed, we succeed, and it's one of those things that's great, like for me. So,
I was talking about the 127. I've been doing this since 2019, and I have yet to been to the 127. So,
just come up. We're going to be dropping some news probably in January about the upcoming 127.
When is it normally?
It is.
End of July, early August, if I remember right.
The first week of August, I think, is what it is.
Yeah, because it's hot as hell when they do it, or hot as heck. My bad. Sorry.
It probably is that time of the year.
Yeah. It wasn't that bad this year. It wasn't that bad most of the days this year. But
dude, me and Leroy crushed it in Georgia. We crushed it in Georgia this year. Like it.
Where's it at in Georgia?
Just south of Chattanooga, like right there at the tip. So it basically starts in Gadsden, and then it goes up and just nips the edge of Georgia, and then goes up Chattanooga area.
Okay.
I'm jealous of your parts buy, man. I was at an estate sale last weekend, and I went Friday, and then I ended up going back on Saturday to the same sale, and it was a picker sale. Like you had to dig, and I came across some boxes in a garage of new old stock Cub Cadet mower parts, and they were basically giving it away.
Leroy pulled that. I was done. I'll just be honest. Like I was done. Like by Saturday afternoon, I'm cooked. I'm like, okay, I got to drive back. It's 11 hours for me. So I was like, man, I was cooked. I was like, Leroy, I'm gonna take you to the house. I'm going home. And we were there, and Brandon Resale King was there at that same place. He was actually set up. Tim was out there, like, there's a few people that was still around. And I was like, man, Leroy comes over. He's like, I need your help with something. And because he knows I've sold parts before, like I've bought them in the States. Like I've bought out the mower guy, that's the repair guy in the backyard. I've bought out shed fulls of that stuff before. And so when he brought me over there, and I was like, what's he asking? I said, well, I think he had like 50 or 60 on the box, but he told Leroy 45 if we got multiples. And so I went over there. I tried to hit him lower. I mean, that's just who I am. But I was like, I'm looking at those boxes. I was like, dude, they're giant Lowe's boxes, like the big boy Lowe's boxes, slam full. And the dude's probably got 25, 30 out there. And I'm looking, we're stuffed. Like we've already, like the back of my van is packed, like the back seat's packed. Like we're literally, we ain't got much room. So I was like, how many boxes do you think we can fit in the back of the car? And we kind of settled on, we probably only going to get a couple boxes a piece in the car. And so we did that. And then while I'm there, Chris, Old School Picker's there with us. And he showed me this NASCAR thing. Dude, I killed it with some NASCAR hats. The same thing. Like I was like, man, I mean, the guy gave me a deal on them. But then Brandon Resale King, first of all, I told Chris, I was like, dude, you should get this. He got like one box. And then I was like, if I were you, I'd be right back over here Sunday morning and wiping this dude out is what I would do. I'd buy whatever he's got left as far as those boxes. And then we were sitting there looking, and I was like, man. So I told Brandon about it before I left. I was like, bro, if I were you, when you're packing up, because he's got a truck, I would see what's the best deal he'll give you on all those boxes. He got a steal on those things, man. I think he paid under two and got 45 boxes or so. So it was insane. But the crazy thing, so we're driving home, and I'm like, it hits me clear as day. That dude had a trailer for sale. Now I've got a trailer hitch on my van. And I'm like, that dude had a trailer for sale for $2,500. So I'm telling Leroy, I was like, dude, what I should have done, we're in Asheville. We'd already left. We're like 4 hours away. And I'm like, I said, I should have bought the trailer and just said, hey, man, if I buy your trailer, will you load it with those parts? Like, give me the parts on the house. Just to like, hey, what's he going to say? No. Like, if he says yes, then I'm just hauling. I could take the trailer home and sell it for what I'd have in the parts.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was sitting there thinking about it. And then, dude, that parts buy has haunted me up until the latest thing that I missed. It's haunted me. The latest one was the comic buy at the reseller rally.
Man,
in hindsight,
yeah.
Myself, Dave, all of us, we should have just bought the rest of those comics that were in that house, but we didn't.
So as someone into collectibles and all of that, when I was watching it, I actually shared that video of Dave's video with some of my other friends within the card community that I know are big into comics, and they were like texting me back in all caps, why didn't he just buy it all? And I'm like,
it was such a weird situation. Like Dave's talked about it, and I mean, Danielle, I'm just grateful she let us in there. It's like a strange family, just a weird thing. The guy was in hospice. He actually passed away that night that we were there. So it's just a weird situation, but we're in there. None of us know anything about comics. That was the hard thing, because none of us know anything about comics. I literally called Chernock and I was like, hey, man, I know you know a little bit about comics. What am I looking for? He said, look, find the lowest price. Just start buying those. Like, just put them in a pile. So it's like 10, 12-cent comics. That's what I'm throwing in the box. But I don't know. He's like, look for something you recognize. I was like, well, I recognize a lot of this stuff. But it was so overwhelming. Like, we had 2 hours before we had to do something. So we're in there, and like at first you start in the upstairs. So for me, you know what I'm doing? I'm looking for things I know about. So I'm like, I'm in the dude's drawers. Like I'm in there pulling t-shirts. I did pull a Spuds McKenzie sweatshirt, which was cool. But like I'm in there like pulling that kind of stuff, looking at it. And then I got into the comments. I was like, I don't know. I don't know where to start. Like there's too much here. Like where do you start? So I just started going through. I made I pulled 3 little boxes. That's what I left out of there with. And the other thing is I flew. So then I'm like, crap, dude. Like how am I like, yeah, it was one of those things. In hindsight, we obviously could have done far better. And we tried later on. We did try. They had kind of shut things down. They ended up selling the rest of the comics to a guy who's opening a comic shop. And already has pre-made inventory apparently. But it was just one of those things. It's kind of like it's all the shoulda, woulda, coulda, and it happens. I'm usually a gambler, man. Usually I'm the one that'll be like, let's do it. But
what do you think it would have took to do the buyout?
I know what the guy paid who did it. We would have been probably in the 10 grand area.
Wow.
On that day. That's probably where we would have been at. But it's massive, dude. Like I can't. When you see how deep it is, and even in Dave's video, you can't really see all of it.
Yeah, well, that's what I was gonna say. At 10 grand, with just what I seen, like watching Dave's video, what he went through, and the amount you could tell that was left.
Yeah.
And then
now the other thing you
couldn't
see on the video, there was some dampness in there. That is not there. Like you can't really tell that on the video. Some of the boxes I picked up, I looked on the end and I was like, ooh, like this stuff feels a little like even some of the comics I got, the bags were kind of stuck together. And I was like, There was already a little bit of moisture stuff going on there. Because actually what my advice to her was, I was like, you guys need to get this stuff out of this house because it's going to mold. Like, I mean, if they cut the power to that house, those comics are cooked. Like summertime in the basement, the walls are sweating, like it's done. So, but yeah, it's one of those things. Danny and them got a bunch of good stuff themselves, and yeah, it's one of those things. We did reach out to her. Kevin reached out to her, like a lot of people reached out to her, and it was kind of out of her hands at that point. So it was just one of those things.
It was cool to watch. I mean, it was kind of like even it was a little insane and overwhelming even watching it because you just like are screaming at the TV, just holy crap, just buy it all,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, but see, like so the situation was so Joe, Philly Pickers, who I was staying with. So Danny reached out to me and she's like, hey, I got a private pick if you want to come. And Shad Juice was there. I know Danny and Shad Juice. Like Danny's Yard Sale and Dreams. If you're not following her, she's finds the coolest stuff. But anyway, so I know all these folks. Like I've done an interview with Danny. I've been to Shad's house. Like I've done an interview with him. And so they told me like, hey, come over. So I did. I'm like, okay. So I'm staying with Joe. He has a car. I flew in. So I was like, Joe, you want to come to this private pick? We're walking out the lobby. This is how Dave got in. We're walking out the lobby. I was like, hey, Dave, you want to come to private pick? And he's like, yeah, sure. Gets in the car. So like none of us were prepared for what we saw. We get in there. I've flown. Dave's flown. Joe, none of the three of us know jack about comics. Like, I'll just be honest. We don't know anything. Like as value, I can tell you this. Every time I bought comic books up to that point, I'm looking at all them things up. I was like, dude, this is trash, man. This is like $1. I'm sitting there looking at it going, oh, it's $1. So then I was like, it's when I got in there, I just was like, I'm going to go in here and find the stuff I know, and then I'm going to pull some comics and hope that there's something in there. That's kind of what happened. And
has anybody told you about the app?
Yeah, now Rod conveniently told us about that. When we got back that night, he's like, "Oh, guys, look up Key Collector." So yeah, I looked at that stuff. Now I will tell you, I've looked at a bunch of stuff on those apps, and they don't match up with eBay. That's for sure. Like they're
No, I didn't mean for comps. So
yeah.
the beautiful thing with Key Collector
It
is
tells you
if
what
you don't know,
issues to
because
look for. Yeah.
yeah, it'll tell you all the keys. Like, so I know some of them were Spider-Man. So you could have typed in Amazing Spider-Man, and then it would
Yeah.
give you just a list of the keys. So then you
Well,
could have
turn out,
searched just for
he
those
told me
issues.
about a couple of Spider-Man issues. He's like, if you see this, and then I literally had him on FaceTime. So I just scrolled it around. I said, you think I'm gonna find that? And here there's like 5 million comic books. Like
Yeah.
it's like one of those things. So like with the limited amount of time we had, it was like, okay, we're just gonna have to grab what we hope is it. Because like Dave and Joe Philly Picker, they started in the back and they literally made it like 2 or 3 rows through, and that's it. Like, I mean, there's so much in there. It would have probably took you a week to go through everything in there. Like this,
I had
Wow.
10,000 comics that I made a buy on. So I
Yeah.
know how much that room that takes up. That was way more than
so
what I
that
had.
that so look, like he didn't even get much footage upstairs. There was more books upstairs. There was stacks of books upstairs. Downstairs was the size of the house. In that one room that he kind of peeks in, dude, that stuff was up to my chin, like all the way that whole room. Pretty much. I was like,
that was
like,
I know 10,000 is approximately
you know what's
39
crazy?
long boxes. So
There's 2 storage units full of that mess outside of the house.
wow, that
That
was
we
a hell
didn't
of a
even know.
collection.
Yeah, so yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I'm sure if you had comic guys that were there, they'd have done a little bit more. I mean, Dave scored big time. Like he ended up, getting all those comics graded. I mean, for me, I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it. I did fine. Like it's like one of those things. Could I have done better? Absolutely. I can tell you what it did do. I learned a ton about comics. Now I can spot a little bit more than what I did then, like just knowing what to look for, condition, like look at different things. A lot of the better comics I got, the condition was poor, to be honest.
I was
Like,
surprised at the grades he got. Some of the good ones got 7s, and for those, the age of that stuff, and to get a 7 on them, that's pretty good. So
yeah, Dave did well. He got, I think where they were at was kind of a little honey hole. I was kind of picking where they weren't, and I still did okay. Like, I mean, the ones I've actually found some modern comics. Actually, let me show you this. I'll show you this. I pulled
seen
some
you had the
modern,
Lethal Protector.
yeah. Some of the ones that I got that were better, and not because the comic itself was great, but because I had multiple copies of certain comics that were honestly newer comics. They let me see here.
Are they the same comics you've been auctioning off on District?
Some of those are that. I hit another buy at 127 that I bought some too. I listed basically all the ones that were anything like more than like 15, 20 bucks. I listed the rest of them. I honestly, some of the comics I sold today are probably $20 comics, to be honest. I just
Really?
yeah, same thing I told you guys the other day. I mean earlier. I don't,
I need to get into the live auction thing at some point and do like lots of sports cards or whatever to get rid of. I mean, y'all can see stuff behind me, but on the other side of this wall, I have racks that are just filled with 5-row boxes of cards. And I could just literally just throw lots up and just let them
I don't
run
know.
because I just want to get rid of this stuff.
Well, I mean, we have a section in there for wholesale too. Like it's
but to ship all of that out would be like it's a lot.
yeah.
It would.
No, I'm saying like
cards are heavy.
Say like there's 100 cards or something like that.
Yeah, I might do some lots or something like that. Because
so like this is one of the comics that I found. I don't know if you guys can see this. So I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 copies of that. Average selling anywhere from 32 to 41.
Batman 666 or
655.
655. Yeah.
Yeah, so I sold this for anywhere
And how
from
many
30
copies of it?
to 40. I had 7 copies.
Nice. And those are probably pretty good in graded
Those were in
condition
great
too.
shape, man. They look brand new, so like they were.
Somebody
Oh
will probably
boy.
buy them at 50, grade them, sell them at
Yeah, what
200.
they were is the first appearance of Damian Wayne. So
Yeah.
apparently there's some kind of something that came out about that.
So here's a question to ask both of you guys, because it's something that I always look back on, and especially, being my first year doing this. What is your favorite thing to find when you go to a yard sale, estate sale, whatever? What is your favorite thing to find that gets you excited?
mine's hats, to be honest. Like if it's hats that are good, I'm like, fired up. But
I don't necessarily have a favorite thing. I just because I sell everything. It's hard to. I guess maybe electronics, any kind of combo units or video game consoles or stuff like that.
Nice. Okay. I would agree with Eric, even though I don't know why. Maybe it's because I
it's not
enjoy
really
wearing them or
monetarily,
whatever.
it's just cool stuff. Like for me.
Yeah. I went to the sale I was telling you about last weekend. I went Friday. There was 4 different buildings. I went because it looked like there was a lot of tools going to be there. But of course, tools draws a crowd. So there was
Yeah.
like 30 people waiting. And so they were all going to the tool buildings, and I dipped off and went into the basement first. And when I walked in, I picked up, there was some Chevy SS hubcaps, and nothing was priced. So I was like, how much are these? And they were like $60 a piece. And I was like, well, I don't need them for that bad. Then I found a jacket rack. I asked how much on those, and the guy was like 30 a piece. It's like, yeah, I don't need those either. Then I seen a row of hats, and that got me excited. And this is what I was telling you about. You were like, show and tell. Well, there was a camel hat priced at $12, a Marlboro hat priced at $15, and then there was a bunch behind it that had no prices on it. So I asked the guy, I was like, how much is the stuff with no stickers on it? He's like, I don't know, $1 or so a piece. So I started digging, and all it took was one to just put a big smile on my face and save the entire day, and then just get me digging for other stuff. But it was a shark tooth Steelers.
Yeah,
with the black dome.
I saw that on Instagram. That thing's killer.
Yep. Yeah. And I bought 11 hats. There was there was vintage Fox Racing. I found a Beavis and Butthead hat. That was pretty cool.
That's cool.
2 80s metal bands that I showed to Chernock. I can't find either one of these hats anywhere on eBay. I priced them kind of high. Those were kind of cool, and they're all in great shape, but 11 hats for $10. And then I found a pile of clothing that I couldn't like dig through. And so I asked the guy, I was like, look, man, I can't go through these boxes and bags. There's no place to lay this stuff. How much would you do if I bought it all? And they had it priced at $2 a piece. And I don't even know how many pieces were there. He's like, how about $80? Okay. So I just filled the Jeep up. I found Big E Levi's, probably 8 pair of orange tab Levi's, tons and tons of single stitch. There was a Leonard Skinner shirt, a Bad Company shirt, just loaded. I actually brought it all home, went through it, threw probably about half of it away that was like either chewed up or old women's stuff that isn't, that doesn't sell. Yeah. But I still have 3 totefuls that I kept out of it for $80. So that was a heck of a day. That gets you excited though. The hats, like once I found that shark tooth, I was like, all right, game on. You know, you can keep your $60 hubcaps. I'll find other stuff.
Yeah, I love that
I
kind of
found
stuff.
some. What's that, Eric?
What about grails? Do you guys have a grail that like, hey, I hope I find this? Like, I've never found it. I want to find it. Do you guys have a grail?
I just knocked one off of my list about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and it happened to be a hat. I had never found a 3-stripe. And I posted that in the district. I had knocked that off the list. Found my first 3-stripe. So yeah, I do that. I'll make a list of something that I really want to find, and
Yeah, I got a
because
mental.
that makes it fun, man. Like
Yeah,
it's just fun.
I've
I
always thought it'd
found
be cool to go to work. Go ahead, Chris.
I found a shark tooth Dallas hat,
Nice.
Dallas Cowboys hat. That's been a couple of years ago. About the same time, I found a 2014 PS3 version of NCAA.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, yeah, and I think I just when you say Grail to me is kind of weird because a lot of people think that look at Grails from the
It may
90s,
not be the most
but I
valuable.
look
It's just
at
something cool
older
to use.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean that's what when I think of grail, I think of okay. So for me, like my short list, a G1 transformer I've never found. Like the
Yes.
metal, the old school. Like I don't care. I would prefer it to be back in the day. I love, obviously Optimus Prime is like the one. But man, I used to have the Decepticons, like the airplane group. Any one of those would be awesome to find for me. My Grail hat find that I'm still looking for is a slice 3-striper. I've never seen one other than Cernock on his wall of fame. I've never seen one in the wild. I would love to find that. I mean, the one of the Grail hats is Chattanooga Chew too. If you ever run up on one of those are like the Mecca hat stuff. As far as like vintage, yeah, there's stuff I personally have not found a 3D emblem Harley Davidson shirt. I would love to find one of those. Like those are the kind of things that kind of got in my brain.
Well,
The
you mentioned
antique shop I did my shows in, they got a G.I. Joe Kung Fu Punch from the 60s, I think, still in the box.
Jeez.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if you can watch one of my videos when I do on YouTube, you can watch one of my videos when I do the antique collector stuff.
you were in there
It's in
today.
there. Yeah, I was in there at 1 o'clock today.
Yeah, I popped in for a second on the video.
Yeah, they got a GoBot in there too. You remember the GoBots?
Yeah. Now I've had
Yeah,
a
they
GoBot.
got one.
I've
Yeah,
had a
they
GoBot.
got one.
Have you guys ever
And I
found
found a lot of
a
what's
what?
that?
Have you ever found a stomper? You know what that is?
So I actually, yes, I have a couple of them from my personal childhood ones. I sent them to
A
Chris, old school
stomper?
picker. I actually have a Kenworth, the Kenworth
Mhm.
semi. I have the little police car. I have a few of them from my childhood. But speaking of childhood and the toys, I think for childhood toys, if I found them, but they've been beat.
Yeah.
But Masters of He-Man, the He-Man figures, Masters of the Universe. I've not found any of those that are in good condition. Um, but you mentioned value, like the 3-stripe trucker hat. The funny thing was, I found that at an estate sale that I went to, that I believe I may have wound up buying a $500 to $700 vase for $2, and that hat had me more excited than anything because I finally not, and it wasn't even anything like it was a college that I'd never heard of, but that got me excited because I finally found one. Like it's something I always look for when I'm out. So, um, but yeah, I think for toys, He-Man, like He-Man characters in good shape would be my thing.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
some of them
definitely
are
need to
big
look for
money.
those in the shop.
Yeah, the tires are the things that give it away, but it actually says Stomper right on the window. Like if you see right here.
Yep.
Oh, what happened to there?
Okay, does
Some
it
of
say
them
it
will
on
be
the bottom
worn
at
though.
all?
It says it right
I
on the
think it
window.
says Schraper on it on the bottom.
Yeah, Shaper is what it says on the bottom. It says Stomper right on the
And
window.
they're just like 1/16 scale, right?
They're uh
close to a Hot Wheel. A little
you'll
bit
recognize them because the tops come off and they take a battery and
yeah, and the
Okay.
tires. The tires are things that always make me look at them.
yeah, the
only
little
problem
rubber
is
tires.
McDonald's ones. There is McDonald ones that they aren't worth hardly anything, but I have a couple of those right now. The McDonald's ones.
Yeah, the vans are the most common McDonald's.
Seems like I remember those because of the
The
knobby tires.
Broncos dude, are the ones that are worth money too. Like those Broncos, like people love them.
I'll tell you something that I never had heard of because I think they're from the late 70s and I'd never seen one, but I actually got one from that sale I just went to this weekend. It's called Rumblers. Hot Wheels
Yeah.
Rumblers, and it's like 3
Mhm.
R's. They're little motorcycle things.
Yeah, I
Yep.
saw that in your when you put that in the show or tell on one stop.
Yeah, I'd never seen one of those before, but those
I remember
if you
those.
find those in good shape, those are they look to be big money too.
Yeah, some of that old toy
Well-
stuff. I mean, Chris Old School Picker has showed me a lot of that stuff that I was like, man, I had no idea. Like I remember having those Stompers when I was a kid too, but I'd never heard of them. And he told me about, dude, there's a Facebook group that says that it's like Stomper Museum or something like that. Those guys go crazy over that stuff. They're like nuts about some Stompers.
I need to figure out because I know there's a way to do it. I need to figure out like mine, the lights and everything will come on, but the motors in them because they sit so long, you know. Heck, I probably haven't played with those things since I was 5, so nearly
I bet if
40
you go in that
years.
group, they'll help you out.
But the motors lock up because I know they'll still work. I mean, they were working when I put them away, and the lights and everything still work. It's just the motors locked up on them. So
How did somebody
Well,
message you?
I hate to cut it short, but Eric's got a show at 8:00.
Got a message on
Yeah.
eBay right then about golf clubs. The guy's like, "What flex are these shafts? They're metal shafts, bro. Like,
Still,
it's pretty
Steel
clear in the
flex.
picture they're metal shafts." Like,
well, some steel shafts do have a regular flex.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
so
it's
you
hard
can
to
just tell
tell
them
unless
regular
the
flex.
stickers on it.
These are Arnold Palmer. I don't even think they knew what flex was back then, bro. Like they're like
Oh, no.
it's like the
But,
guys that message
Eric, yeah,
you
let
about
me know. I'm sorry.
the guys that message you about the VHS. Where's the HDMI cable? Yeah, that don't work. I had a return years ago. Years ago, I had a return on a VHS. A VHS, just a VHS player. They sent it back. They said I couldn't get it to hook to the HDMI. Here's your sign.
Yeah.
Wow. You got anything you want to say, Eric, before we step up?
No, I'll just tell you guys, man. Thanks for having me on for sure, and appreciate you guys. These guys are both part of One Stop Shop, so come and check us out over there. Check us out, Reseller Information Network. We're live every Tuesday from 9 to 12, and be on the lookout. I know that Chris is going to drop a link down below in the chat. In the comment section. So go ahead and check that out too. Like, come on over and hey, do a little Christmas shopping. We'd love to see you. Thank you.
Brandon, you got anything?
No, I mean, like Eric said, go check them out on Tuesday mornings. Outside of the knowledge, you get to see Chernock try on and do model some coats, and there's some good folks in chat.
Dance party.
Get to it. I'll be honest, the show is called Listing and Loafing, and I turn it on and try to focus on listing, but it's so fun to engage with the chat and those guys that are on screen and everything. It sometimes can get you swayed away from your listing, but still go check them out.
Yeah.
They're all four good dudes, and a lot of fun hanging out with them. So,
All right, guys. Hey, sorry about the technical issues we had tonight. Next Thursday night at 6 p.m., we'll have another show. Drop the link later on in the week, and our guest is going to be next week. Remember, every Thursday night at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'll have a live show from the antique shop. Please keep an eye on District. The link is below for upcoming shows. Eric's doing a 12-day of Christmas auctions. Thank you. What day are you on, Eric?
I'll be on tomorrow. Well, tomorrow I already have a show scheduled. I think 2:00 tomorrow. I'll be doing another one Saturday evening, and then I will do another one Sunday evening. And I'm actually through. So basically, through the 15th, I'll do an auction every day through the 15th. 15th last day to ship and get it for Christmas. So come and get a Christmas gift. Or if you're a reseller, be on the lookout tomorrow. I'm going to be dropping a lot of reseller boxes tomorrow.
Right. And also, guys, keep up. I got a couple of videos coming out. I got a what's sold, and I also got one I'm fixing to put out about the real numbers behind eBay. So, guys, thank you for watching, and we will see you on the next video. I'm running behind.